Fingerprint technology, aiming to speed things up, is slowing many down, including me, which prompted this segment about whether people actually lose their fingerprints or is the technology just failing. Joining us now, Erin Tolbert, emergency room nurse practitioner, and Clayton Morris, co-anchor Fox and Friends Weekend and resident tech expert. So good to see both of you.
Thank you.
Clayton, we're using our fingerprints for so much more now. It's like the swipe world. We're doing them for everything, right?
Yeah, so biometric feedback on all of these different devices. If you go to Disney World, you remember when you slide your little card through the scanner there, they'll put your thumbprint on it to identify you along with that card at Disney World. At gyms now, when you go to work out, and now even new detention pods at the airport that the TSA rolling out. So to even leave the airport, Syracuse International Airport and these other airports, when you leave the airport, you can actually have to put your biometric feedback on a fingerprint scanner so you can walk out. And the iPhone 5S is probably the best implementation of this technology yet.
Okay, so speaking of airports, I was there over the weekend because I was trying to get this global entry pass where you can go through customs a little quicker and you have a higher security check. Don't have to take off your shoes, that sort of stuff. They take your fingerprints. And my children were horrified to find out that mommy has no fingerprints, according to the TSA. Now, here are my fingers right here, Erin. You are a nurse practitioner. The woman that was doing my fingerprints, she kept doing them and doing them and doing them. On a scale of 1 to 20, 20 being bad, I was a 19 on my fingers. What happened to me?
Well, Gretchen, there are actually a few ways you can lose your fingerprints over time. First of all, certain medications can cause you to lose your fingerprints, namely chemotherapy medications. They can cause sloughing of the skin of the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet. And if they get to that deeper layer, they can cause you to lose your fingerprints. Certain professionals always also see that they lose their fingerprints. Secretaries, for example, I see you have a big stack of papers in front of you. People who file through stacks and stacks of paper, use their fingers a lot during the day, they can actually see the ridges on their fingerprints wear away.
Well, it's so interesting because I have not had chemotherapy, fortunately. Right. I did play the violin for 1,000,000 hours as a child, but that would have only been my left hand, which was the first thing that came to mind. So, Clayton, I turn back to the tech expert in you. Could it be that people are also losing their fingerprints because we're constantly on our fingers, either typing now or on devices?
It's possible, but that's why the technology needs to be better to analyze those versions of our fingerprints that maybe are losing a piece of the skin as a result of all of this different typing on keypads and touch screens. And so I think when we knew that Apple was going to roll out this Touch ID on the iPhone, and people are saying, I hope it's better than all the other garbage that's out there right now, these ThinkPads, you know, those laptops, they never analyzed your finger properly.
So my question was, you would think that the TSA would have the best technology for fingerprints, because we're talking about national, international security here, right?
Right.
So could it be that their device is just not up to snuff and I actually do have fingerprints?
It certainly could. A lot of devices only read the surface of the skin, but your fingerprints are actually coated much deeper. There's things called papillae underneath the skin, which are actually internal ridges in your fingers, and those are what forms the pattern for your fingerprints. And so if you can get a device that reads deeper into those layers of the skin, you can have more success, especially with people who've lost their superficial fingerprints.
When you sign into the iPhone for the first time, you're having to touch it 10 different ways, so it's analyzing every angle of your finger. And this is just one layer of security. In the next few years, you're going to see retinal scan technology, face recognition technology.
Wish they would have had that one, Clayton. I think I have a retina.
Well, they have Clear, right? That's one of the ways you walk through the airport, is that whole program that scans your retina.
Well, so I said to the woman, I shouldn't have said this, but I said, oh, I can become a burglar now, of which my daughter then cried. Mommy's a burglar. I'm like, no, actually, I'm just kidding.
So that's how you've been managing to get rid of your fingerprints?
Well, I've never been fingerprinted before, and now I find out I don't have them. But it's an interesting discussion in light of the fact that we're using them for so much. Clayton and Erin, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Gretchen.